Now, my question to you is, how would you like to ask a question that will not lead to a no 90% of the time? Wow, that's a question, isn't it? And if you follow my advice, I can guarantee you that you will not be asking questions the way that other people do that actually lead to a no 90% of the time. But I'll show you a specific way of converting that, so when you do ask questions in future, they'll probably give you a yes 90% of the time or more. What a difference between the two. I know which one I'd choose, and I'm sure I know which one you'd choose. So in this module, I'll show you how that can be done and how you can avoid getting it wrong in future. Now, the first thing I want you to get hold of is the manner in which you ask for things. And here, the first thing you'll need to appreciate is that most people in sales copy what they see others do or even say. And they'll still copy despite the fact that what they see does never have a positive outcome. In other words, they don't get a yes, and they still copy. And yet, I'm sure that they're hoping for a yes when they're really going to get a no around 90% of the time. You've just heard right. They will get a no around 90% of the time, and I'll explain why in a second. So if you too want to get a no 90% of the time, then keep doing what the others are doing. Have you ever asked somebody, can I help you? Or even, could I help you? Or even, may I help you? Well, if you've used any of those three phrases and said nothing else, I'll guarantee you that you will get a no around 90% of the time. Now think about that. Let me add this. Have you ever asked, would you like or would you like me to of somebody? Again, you'll get a no 90% of the time. Is there anything I can do for you? Is another one of these problem areas. And if you want to make those problem areas even worse, then place a what before the question. What can I do for you? What could I do for you? Or what may I do for you? And I'll guarantee you, you won't even get a no 90% of the time. It'll be worse than that. So here's what you need to know, because you will hear me say often something like, how would you like to know? And then I go on and finish off that sentence. That's how I start. And then when I do that, I explain what I want to share. It's that simple. So let me wise you up. That is the way you ask questions as a marketer and not as a salesperson. That's right, as a marketer and not as a salesperson. There's a difference between the two. But it's also the same way that the top line professionals ask their questions that the average salesperson doesn't. Now, here's the benefit. If you ask a simple question and then want a reason for them to want to hear more, that will result in a yes around 90% of the time in an industry that we call that type of questioning a question with a hook. So if you learn to ask a question with a hook, you're more likely to get a yes 90% of the time simply because they'll want to know more. Yes, I'm editing again, but I can't help myself, can I? Look, I just want to share some real life examples of how things can be turned around from people getting a no for questions that they're asking and turn it into a yes almost at the blink of an eye. Now, there are a number of supermarkets close to where I live, as possibly there are where you live. And one of those supermarkets actually hands out catalogues or brochures of next week's special. They're in full colour, and they would go sometimes 30, 40 or 50 pages. Now, I watched this girl when I was in that supermarket in a queue, and I watched 7 people say no in a row when she asked, would you like a catalogue? That's right, 7 in a row. And when I got there, she asked me the same question, and I said, no. Like everybody else has said, I'm saying no, but I'll tell you why I'm saying no. And I explained to her exactly what happens when you ask in that manner. She said, well, what am I supposed to do? I said, that's simple. Just pick up a brochure, put it in their hand and say, this is next week's catalogue of specials. That's simple. Now, I took my goods, put them in the car, then came back and looked from a bench away back from where she was serving customers, and I noticed 15 people in a row accepted the brochure when she simply said, here is next week's brochure catalogue, and that was it. Put it in their hand and they walked out with it. Nobody complained. You know, alternately, with the other checkouts, I watched people say no at the checkout, but then would walk out to the front door and pick up a brochure because they were asked the wrong way. Now, there's a twist to this story, because about a month later, I walked back into the same store and I ended up in the same line that this girl, let's call her Maria, was serving. And she asked, would you like a catalogue? 3 times in a row, and she got a no 3 times in a row. And then I turned up with a smile on my face. She recognized who I was, and she said, here's a catalogue. Put it in my hand, and that was it. I just chuckled, I laughed, I said, thank you very much. You've obviously remembered what you should be doing and what works. And she just thanked me. Now, it's that simple. Once you appreciate the way to do this, it becomes extremely simple. It's just a simple formula that you need to adopt. And remember, with a habit, if you practice a habit for 28 days, it becomes part of what you do. But if you do it for 90 days in a row, it becomes a lifestyle. And your selling is so crucial because that's where your income is. And if you don't treat that like your future lifestyle and a better lifestyle than what you're getting at the moment, well, the only one person you can blame for that, it's not me, not the guy next door, not your sales manager. Point a finger at yourself, because it's you. So there you have it. Simple, isn't it? And when you follow the advice that I've given you here, everything will change. And once you stop generating questions that give you a no 90% of the time, you'll find that your selling will also improve quite dramatically, because getting to get a yes more often puts you into a concept we know in selling as the yes room. And once you're in the yes room, it is far easier for the prospect to keep saying yes, with the occasional maybe which you throw in so that don't get too many yeses up. And when they do that, it gets so easy to get a yes in any final decision on closing the sale, either in the segment that you want to close or as a formal close whenever you want to close down and ask for the order. Remember, I said whenever. It doesn't have to be at the very end like a lot of people expect. It can be whenever.